Hello, guys. How you doing today? Today, we're going to talk on don't rely on people's approval. And our scripture comes from John 5 41. It says, your approval means nothing to me. I remember growing up, I had a father and a mother that was really inspirational in my life. And they introduced me to God at a really young, early age. But even having parents in the home, having a good father that set a good example, and having a good mother that set a good example, it still was really hard as it related to peer pressure, because we know peer pressure is something that kids deal with in school, and I think as we grow older, we still seek for people's approval, but it just has a lot to do with how honest you really are with yourself. And that's one thing I had to learn, man. I had to learn, in order for me to go through and to grow through, I had to learn to be honest with myself. And as I was growing up, there was times that I really did seek the approval of others. Now, let me say this. It is important for us to realize that we need people in our life. For every level that you obtain, every time you grow and every time you develop more understanding in your life, you need people around you. And I think sometimes it can be self-destructive, for sometimes people will isolate themselves from other people. Now, sometimes it's good to isolate yourself for a season where you're learning about yourself, you're growing, you're maturing, and you're just getting familiar with who you are as an individual. But what can be self-sabotaging is for you to totally isolate yourself from people because you really don't feel good about yourself. And so remember, the key to not relying on people's approval is, first of all, gaining wisdom and gaining significance and value as it relates to God and as it relates to you as an individual. I think a lot of times we attract the wrong people in our lives because we don't really feel good about ourselves. The Bible tells us to love God with all our heart and with all our soul. And then it says, love your neighbor as yourself. You really can't love other people until you really learn to love yourself. And remember, that's something that we have to grow through and we have to go through. And it's an ever learning process, learning to love yourself and learning to love God, which is a reflection of how you love and treat people. But remember this, even though we need people, it's important for us to understand that we should not rely on people as it relates to find our significance and our worth in other people. Remember, if you rely on other people for significance and value, then you're setting yourself up for failure, because you cannot find happiness in another person. You can't find happiness in a grandmother. You can't find true happiness in a friend. Even though you may be happy, that should not be your foundation of approval and happiness. The foundation of approval and happiness needs to come from you feeling good about yourself, and you also feeling good about your relationship with God. That's why the Bible tells us to go in secret into our prayer closet. And when we do these things, God begins to reveal himself to us, and he also begins to reveal us to us. That's one of the greatest things that you can ever learn in life, is as you develop that intimate connection with God. And also, as God begins to reveal you to you, things begin to shed off of your life. There's so many different layers of an onion. I love onions, and my wife tells me, man, when you eat onions, baby, you need to gargle, you need to brush your teeth, you need to do a whole bunch of stuff, because she don't like smelling that onion smell. But when I'm eating a salad, I'm cutting these onions up, and I realize there's so many different layers that exist within an onion. And one of the things I've realized about human nature is we have so many layers that we have to peel off of our life. And as we peel all these layers off of our life, we're gaining more victory, we're gaining more blessings, we're gaining more dominion, we're gaining more understanding, we're gaining more wisdom, we're gaining more value. And a lot of times people really don't go through that process in life where they're starting to peel stuff off of themselves. They're entering into relationships too fast, they're getting married too fast, they're entering into a business too fast without going through a process of peeling layers off of you. And so remember what I said today, your true value and your true worth is not found in a man. It's not found in a woman. It's not found in a relationship. It's found in your relationship with God and you understanding what your significance and what your value is. So remember this. I'm going to pray with you today. And always remember, your value and your self-worth does not come from another person. It comes from your creator. And that's something you have to really build within your inner conscience and within your subconscious that you are valuable to God and you are valuable to yourself. Now, remember, I'm speaking about value from a spiritual perspective. We also have value as it relates to the marketplace, as it relates to how we treat people. There's so many different values that we can develop in a lifetime. But today I want to talk about it more from a spiritual perspective, you gaining an understanding of your relationship with God that translates into your life, where you begin to see your value and your significance from a spiritual perspective. And as you do this, you vomit up your dependence of man, you vomit up your codependency of people, and then you begin to realize what your self-worth is. And from that perspective, you now begin to attract people in your life that will help you with your destiny. I always remember this. Based on how we perceive ourselves and based on how we see ourselves has a lot to do with the people that we attract into our life. If you're attracting people that are toxic, a lot of times the reason that happens is because you don't really see yourself as valuable. You may see yourself as a person that will allow other people to dump trash in your ears. You know, a trash can is only for trash. A trash can is not for valuable commodities. It's really when a person throws something away, they really don't need it anymore. It's not as valuable. They've used it. They've always, anytime think about when you throw something away, what is your whole purpose for throwing something away? Well, guess what? It's disposable now. I don't need it anymore. So don't allow your ears, don't allow your life to be filled with individuals that dump toxic energy and toxic frequencies and gossip into your life, because you're much more better than that. You're much more valuable than that. You're going to have to set a different standard of excellence for your life so you can start attracting people in your life that will help you go to the next level as it relates to your destiny. Now, remember what we talked about today. Don't rely on people's approval. This is something that we all have to go through and grow through. Always